Hello, everyone. Welcome to Small Talk. Well, joining me today in my Zoom room is Michael Berger. Hello, Michael
Hello,
Berger.
Nancy. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Michael and I have known each other. I was thinking it might be about over 20 years now.
It's much longer than it feels like.
Yeah, it's like, wow,
Yeah.
But I know you're here, you're not here to talk about that. You have something new, a new venture you're starting?
I do. Earlier this year, I started up a guided walking tour company in Chilliwack. It's called Chilliwack Tours. Tried to make it simple for people to find it. And I do walking tours primarily downtown Chilliwack, looking at the murals, talking about the history of Chilliwack, and working on kind of expanding that out a little bit to other areas of Chilliwack as well, so that hopefully by next year I can hit different pockets of Chilliwack
Yeah,
too.
well, how'd you come up with that idea to begin with?
Well, for me, it started during COVID. Um, I love to travel, and obviously we couldn't travel a whole lot. And so I found this website online, which unfortunately no longer exists. And in it, it was targeted towards tour guides who typically do walking tours in cities with people in real life, who suddenly were basically out of a job because they weren't able to do that. And so what they pivoted to do was they would have their phone on a gimbal and a microphone clipped to them, and they would essentially live stream a tour for people online. And I started attending some of those. And at first, it was places like Paris and London and New York. And so it was great to see some of those things. The streets were empty,
Right.
which was really fascinating because you really got a different feel than if you'd been at those places with a whole bunch of people and tourists. So you really got an insider look at some of these things. And then I started noticing that tour guides were going to their hometowns and doing it from their hometowns and doing it from smaller cities as well. And there was one in particular I did where it was a father and son, and they essentially were walking through the countryside in France, just a little village that they happened to live in. And it hit me that, we have this beautiful world-class view of with our mountains and our rivers, and people who are locked down in cities across the world would love to see what Chilliwack has to offer.
Right.
And so I thought, wow, you could walk along the Rotary Trail, you could go to Cultus Lake, you could walk around the downtown because there's murals there, and there's all sorts of things that are different for people who live in big cities. And so that planted the seed for it. And when I had the opportunity earlier this year, things just sort of coalesced that now is the right time. The murals downtown are just going crazy with how many we have. I had volunteered last year with the Chilliwack Mural Festival to be a volunteer tour guide and really enjoyed the process. So combining my love of travel, my love and knowledge of Chilliwack, the fact I got to tell stories to people, which is something I love to do, my love of the history of Chilliwack, it just all sort of fell together that, this was the time and the place and the moment to do it. And it's just been an outstanding reaction for people.
So you started already?
Have started already, sort of dabbled originally just doing a couple on behalf of the Mural Festival as well, and have now branched out. In addition to doing some for them, I do some of my own as well. And like you said, the reaction of the people, the guests that come on the walk, people who've lived here most of their life, they learn about the city in a different way.
Sure.
People that are coming from out of town or from other countries, they are fascinated by what we have here, and the art that is available publicly for free is outstanding. Internationally renowned artists that are painting murals in Chilliwack. And it's interesting to ask them, like, well, how did you even how did you find out about Chilliwack? And it's a lot of it's word of mouth from other artists.
Very cool.
It's such a growing field. And the other part I really, sorry, I'm sort of
No, that's fine.
going
That's
all
great.
over the back
That's
here.
great.
The other part about the murals I really like is that the Mural Festival has really worked hard to not just have international artists, but to bring in artists who are local, who are
Mhm.
indigenous, women, people of color, people that maybe don't always have the chance to do public art
Right.
as easily as some others do. And they've really done a great job of supporting them and highlighting them. And we have some absolutely world-class murals from local artists as well that are mixed in with the others. And people really can't tell them apart. They're just as good as any other mural.
Absolutely. I know just recently someone like I live on Spadina,
Yeah.
wasn't looking at the camera there. I live on Spadina, close to Main Street. So there's some new ones just down the street from me, right?
Yes, yeah, those are new this year.
Yeah. So how do your tours work? Are they group or are there, can you have like a private tour?
Yeah, it's both. Right now, I'm just doing ad hoc tours. So
Mhm.
somebody will contact me and ask, can I do a tour on this time
Right.
and date? Most of the time, it's possible. I do plan on having regularly scheduled tours in the future, just so that everybody knows maybe Saturday at 10 o'clock, there's a tour available.
Okay.
So if they're in the area or if they have guests, they know when it's going to be. So it is a mix of tours, and I have, it's been fascinating to me to see who comes on the tours. It is such a complete mix of people. I think my youngest guests were kindergarten age, and have done a few schools as well, right through to university age, and then groups of middle-aged folks, families, had a couple of groups of seniors. I've got one scheduled for just in a few days that is a group of 10 senior ladies.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
2 of them with walkers and one in a motorized wheelchair. So it's been really fun for me to kind of adapt tours to the different groups and show them not everybody gets the same tour. Everybody sort of gets their own custom tour in a sense, because I'm trying to understand what the group would want to see, how much history they want versus just the murals. And so I just sort of adapt to the group and give them essentially their own custom tour. And of course, private people, I've had couples that just want to do their own thing, just the 2 of them, and I'm happy to do that as well.
Very cool. So when you're taking somebody on a tour, like if you happen to pass, let's just say a business that's been in Chilliwack for like many years, would you mention that? Something like that?
It depends. If there's a history perspective to that, then I definitely do. But at this point, they're not really shopping or culinary tours. It is really more focused on the art primarily, and with the idea that down the road, I know there are restaurants that have already approached me about how can we work together. You know, some of the breweries want to do things together. So I'm a one-man show right now, so there's a lot of things to think about and also try and make all the contacts to make it work well, not just for the business, but also for my guests as well.
For sure. But it'd be nice if it does work out that the businesses that have already mentioned it to you, the very fact that they're interested in making it somehow mesh together is pretty cool.
Yeah, has been just outstanding support from everybody in Chilliwack so far. The Chamber of Commerce has allowed me to do a quick talk at one of their gatherings. The downtown Chilliwack BIA fully supportive. The Mural Festival, they've kind of made me their official tour guide, so that if somebody approaches them for a tour, they just kind of talk to me and make sure that I can do it for them. And Tourism Chilliwack, I did a tour for Tourism Chilliwack. Right. So they got a feel for it too. And it, like I said, everybody's been just fantastic support so far.
Right. So now do you have like when you're doing the tours a certain amount of hours?
Again, I try and customize it to what the people say. So if I'm doing a school tour, for instance, they typically have a limited time. Sure. They're often doing other things downtown. They're visiting District 1881, or they're going bowling, or they're going to the park or something like that. So those tours tend to be a little bit shorter. But I've done tours anywhere between 40 minutes long and 2 hours long. Okay. Most of them are around the 60 to 75-minute mark. A lot of it depends on people's walking speed. Right. I quickly found out that I walk at a faster pace than a lot of people do. It's because I'm excited too. I want them to see what fantastic things we have to see downtown. So I finish one, I want to get on to the next one. And I find that people are a little bit slower catching up. So I just adjust their speed, and I'm willing, like I said, if it's a 60-minute tour, great. If it's 75, 80, 90 minutes, well, that's good too.
Now, how do you determine cost, like what you're going to charge?
Right now, just a complete flat fee, $20 per person per tour.
Well, that's pretty decent. Wow.
Yeah, I've done tours in other cities. I paid a lot more for them.
I'm sure you have.
I've done free walking tours. They're free, but you end up tipping. And so $20, it's really not outrageous. I think in my experience, there are people, locals, who kind of think $20 to walk around Chilliwack. But if you're from Vancouver, if you're from Burnaby, and really all you've come out on the highway and you've seen a little bit of Cultus Lake and you've seen maybe a little bit of the downtown, but you don't really know what you're seeing or anything, you pay $20 to have a local guide take you places and explain what you're seeing and show you the places here that are worth seeing. Right. I think it's pretty reasonable.
I think so too. And I think locals should appreciate the fact that you're willing to charge so little to have other people come in from other places to see Chilliwack, because it benefits Chilliwack.
Absolutely. Obviously, I'm spending a lot of time in downtown right now in District 1881 and the Central Village area. And there are some outstanding businesses there that work hard to bring in different products and services, not just for the locals, but also for people from out of town. And, when people bring their visitors from overseas on a tour, so they're local, but their guests are from overseas, it gives them something to do. For one, show off the town in a different way than maybe if they just did their own driving tour. Sure. And then they can go for a meal afterwards or a cold drink afterwards. And it's a nice way to spend a couple of hours. Yeah, absolutely. If you think about $20, like you can't get a good meal for $20. Well, I try to equate it to a movie ticket. Right? Okay. Yeah. You're going for something entertaining. $20 for something which people tell me is entertaining. Yeah. I think it is a reasonable cost. I think so too. So, okay, so for anybody's watching this, how would they get a hold of you if they're interested? Sure. My website, I tried to make things real easy. My website is chilliwacktours.com. I'm on Facebook and Instagram, also at Chilliwack Tours, and my email is info@chilliwacktours.com. Nice. So email me and tell me what kind of tour you're looking for. If you want a mural tour or a history tour or a blended one, happy to do both, and when and what time you want to do it, and we'll set something up. Sounds really good. Yeah. Thanks, Michael. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I do hope you get a hold of Michael, especially if you're, well, I'm just going to say, especially if you're out of the area, but it doesn't really matter. Like, I don't know anything much about Sardis because I live in the downtown area. So I'm sure it's the same for people who live in Sardis. I'll give you a tour of Sardis someday. There you go, right? So anyway, thank you, everybody, for watching the show. I hope you continue to do so. Take care, everybody, and peace out. Oops, I always miss this.